Hello, everyone, and welcome to my Ascension Messages. My name is Bobby, and I'll be your guide for today. Today, I'm going to do some channel messages, but mainly focusing on entering into the vortex, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Before we start, I do have some things I have to go over. So what has happened is the GoFundMe that a beautiful follower set up for me to go to New York has been taken down, and we were wondering why. So we sent a message out, and they said it's because you're not allowed to have like tickets sold to try to entice people in and stuff like that. And we had like 2 free giveaway readings on there, so that has to be taken off. So we're taking it off. It's going so that we can get the GoFundMe still going. But on an offshoot from that, let's just say this is completely non-related. There has been a draw for people who are my subscribers and my supporters, and I have drawn 2 people's names out, and I'll put them on the screen now so that you know who they are, and they will be going in to have a totally different, not even related, free 30-minute reading. So here's the first name that was pulled out, and and there's the second name that was pulled out. So yeah, first, and these ones are and that one. So if that's your name, you will be contacted. Okay, so that's aside. The whole thing is finished with the whole tickets, and that's for a draw. It's non and void. It wasn't supposed to happen, and it hasn't happened, as far as we're concerned. That's how it goes, right? You've got to follow what's the rules. Now, on top of that, I have a new telekinesis lesson that's going to be published on my Patreon school, AMAKEL, today. And if you want that, then that's a silver tier. So go take a look at my Patreon for the AMAKEL. The link's down below. That's all about telekinesis, and it also has a demo on it as well. So yeah, that's going to be fun. And also, there's a meeting tomorrow for all my subscribers as well. So anyone that wants to attend that meeting, I have put the link on my community notice page. So if you go down, I think that it's the second one down at the moment for community notice. It might be the third one once they put up that the GoFundMe has changed. But yeah, if you want to go be part of that, that is not recorded, that is not going live, that's nothing to do with anything. It's just us getting together and saying hi, and also sharing what we're all about, so that maybe there's other people out there that, you can like hand, share gifts and stuff and put your piece of the puzzle on the table and see if there's other people that can help and that sort of thing. So I think it's a really good idea to get this motivation happening at the moment, especially at the moment. Okay. Hey, Debbie, good to see you. And Janine, good to see you as well. Let's get into this, though. This is a really interesting kind of a topic. So the reason why I'm doing this is because in 2020, I had an extraordinary event happen to me, and I was taken to oneness. I wanted to experience oneness, and I was taken to oneness. And in this moment that this happened, I had to become all expansive with everything. I left my body. I become people that are around me, and towns and cities and countries, and it just kept going. And the only way I could handle it to become everything is to become the observer of it. So as you become the observer of it, you start to encapsulate more. And I started to go further out into the universe, and I went even further than that I ended up seeing this huge Taurus energy. And in the Taurus energy, I saw Earth entering this vortex. And so as if you've ever seen a Taurus energy, it goes in and it goes out. So it was actually Earth at the top of the Taurus energy, and it was entering the vortex. And this is 2020, March 2020, I think it was. And that was, and that, you know, what was happening around that time, right? So everything started to shift then, right? Now, at the very center of that space was what I would call source energy. I've called it, and I've called it here the vortex. Like we're getting closer and closer to God, love itself, source energy, prime creator. Our coming into that frequency, and when I saw it as an outside object, I recognized that it was also energy field that was me as well. And so I was it, and it outside of me, and it was me as well. So it is an inner journey that we are all going on, that is going to shatter many illusions and bring us back to a central space within ourselves. Now, when this happens, and it's going to happen to all of us in the end, whether we like it or not, we have to go through that vortex. That, like many years ago, I actually drew. I wish that I had it here, but I can't. I don't have my artwork around me because I'm traveling at the moment. But I drew a hand with an hourglass, and the hourglass, I didn't know anything of what I was going to see in 220, because this was drawn back in, I think it was 2006. And I knew that we were going to have to go through this, like what I would call the vortex. It's like a source energy spot within oneself. And it was like a shedding away of everything that was illusions, a shedding away of everything that was a program that doesn't resonate with the love of God, source energy, prime creator, whatever you want to call it. That has to be shed. And we are all going through it. This is why we're going through so much at the moment. This is the whole reason why humanity is, holy crap, what's happening with my life? Oh my God, this doesn't resonate anymore. This does. Oh my God, where am I going? I don't know what's happening. Everything's just shattering. And you look out to the big wider world and you're like, oh my God, everything's falling apart. And I'm confused, like confusion out there. And it's because we are coming into this new phase of ourselves. And when we enter that, we're going to experience something very it's going to be absolutely incredible, or it's going to be absolutely painful as crap. It'll all depend on you and how you process this. So I've written down a whole heap of things here to help us navigate through this and get a better understanding. Oh my God, if I'm feeling that, then I'm not really letting go, or I'm not shedding the old illusion that was keeping us in a certain story. So it's like they're showing me like a seed. It's something like something being shed away from us. Like they're showing me a seed or a nut or something, and then the cracking of that nut, and then it ends up being the seed inside that and can bloom. And it can't bloom unless the nut that protected it is broken away somehow. So a bird will pick it up and, you know, try to bang it on the fence or something, or animal will try to break it open. And so you've got all this shaking up happening, and what the heck is happening, you know? But in the end, once that protection is fallen away, we end up with a fresh new start. Yeah, that's what they're showing me at the moment. So yeah, it's like a tight squeeze, like if you were going to squeeze something, and everything in that sponge that was poisonous or icky or yucky, things that just weren't right for us, has been squeezed out as we're going through this. literally been birthed again, like through the canal, everything's squeezed out, and the baby's now having to breathe and in the real world, it's literally being birthed while we're still present in this body. And it's happening to all of us, whether we like it or not. This is the interesting part, and I don't believe that many people think. I think they can think that they can escape this, but it is the whole of humanity going through it. But how it happens with you and what's going to happen to you is going to depend on you and whether you come in touch with that imbalanced part of yourself that you've denied for so long. Yeah, it's going to be easier for the younger ones because they are so fresh from the world of the spiritual world. They come straight from energy, right? They were energy before they were born, and so they have a better understanding of that, and it's going to be easier for them. But the ones like, I'm well and truly into my 50s, and us that are up there, even 30s, 40s, 50s, we're in the program, right? We're in that old program, and we're trying to break free from it. So it is going to be an inside job, and in reflection, everything will start to shift outside of us. This is how the normal nature of things works anyway, because it's our consciousness that is creating, and how we're dealing with ourselves is how the rest of the world deals with us, or the rest of reality deals with us. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to point out a whole heap of points for those that have done the work and understand and go through this in a surrendering manner. And then I'm going to go through some of the signs that you will have if you are holding on to a program. And the reason why I'm doing this is because some of us have got programs that we're still holding on to and we don't actually realize it. And then others are, when you are surrendering and you do realize how you're entering this so-called vortex within yourself, that you are going the right way. So it's just giving us in our logical mind better understanding. So first of all, I wrote this down really fast, so I know that this is half channeled and half awareness within myself, because when I write things really fast, I just went I don't think about it. It just pours out of me. So I know that this is kind of half channeled because I was in that connection with my team as well. So we have the first thing is for the positive side. If you're going to enter this vortex in a positive manner, we have the logical mind surrendering to the present moment is a big deal. It's a big deal. So when your logical mind starts to surrender, okay, it's not necessarily going to turn out this way. What's happening in this present moment isn't actually happening. I'm not like projecting into the future or grasping from the past. When your logical mind is surrendering in the present moment, you are entering this space in a great way. When your intuitive mind has been respected, so you have this intuitive mind that starts to kick in of, I know what to do just because I know what to do. It's not because I've read it in a book. It's not because somebody else told me. It's not because I saw it on YouTube from somebody else telling me. It's just a feeling that I've got and an intuitive response. And so I go towards that, and you respect it. You respect it. Now, you don't deny it. You don't ignore it. You respect it. That is a really good sign that you are going into this in a great way. When you balance between work, rest, and play with no more guilt. When you're doing that every day, when you're just like, you know what, in this moment, I need to rest. You know what, in this moment, I'm really excited about working on this, what I'm trying to achieve here. You know what, I need to have a bit of playtime and go out and swim or do something fun or dance around the house, my socks, that sort of thing. And no guilt, and I mean no guilt. So if someone walks in on you, you still do what you're doing. That's no guilt. If someone walks in on you and you sit down all of a sudden and go, oh, then you're already, you still got guilt there. it's a good one to practice with your partners and so forth. So you can say to them, look, I'm going to do this no guilt thing. So you might catch me resting. You might catch me dancing. You might catch me playing. You might catch me working. I mean, work is obviously something that's been ingrained into us. It's what we should be doing all the time, you know, so that's an easy one. But also new ideas are being respected now. So ideas, and even coming from when you were a kid, you might have had these ideas of what you wanted to be when you grew up, or a sense about something that you never really fulfilled. When you were a teenager, oh my God, imagine if I could do this. And even if it goes against the mainstream and what is so-called the right thing to do, if you are following your passions and your desires and you have these new ideas that are respected, you are going in the right direction. And you just go, you know what? I really respect that passion within me. Nobody else has that passion. I have that passion. I had that idea. I had that thought that I could achieve this while I'm in this body, on this planet, in this reality. And it's extraordinary for me to have come up with it. So respect it, respect it. Allowing yourself to feel again, which opens doors to connecting to others, is another big one. So this is a really huge one, because your feelings, when you start to acknowledge your feelings, you start to open up your heart and your passions and your desires and everything that you want. This is where these new ideas start coming from. So you're like, I acknowledge the fact that I'm feeling this way. And it could be that you're feeling sad in a moment, but just allow it to happen so that you can see, why am I feeling sad? Why is this feeling overtaking me? And then if it's something that is detrimental to your health because it's stressing you out, you can look within that and go, you know what, I have to take my power back in some sense of another, so that I don't lose it. It could be anger, could be fear, could be anything, but to acknowledge your feelings again is a really huge one for going through this vortex as well, because you're coming back to a frequency of love, of self in the moment, and how you feel needs to be loved. Otherwise, how can we, if we don't feel more, how can we become more empathic? How can we connect to things telepathically in the trees and being able to understand things from that intuitive self of connection? We can't unless we acknowledge our feelings as well. Relationships changing with yourself, and then the boundaries with others as well. So relationship changing is a huge one. I have actually written out a really long thing that I channeled through the other day about relationships. So I might do a specific relationship video coming up. Probably will, because I've written all this stuff out about our relationships changing. But it is to do with the relationship that's changing within you, accepting your masculine self and your feminine self within yourself, and acknowledging that both have something to give for this reality to be created. And when you start to accept that, you can come back into a balanced state of mind, which is showing me that vortex again of a void, no man's land, because there's no fighting going on between your right and left hemisphere, your intuitive side and your logical side. There's no more fighting going on. And all wars and everything that's happened outside of us has been a reflection of this fight that we've had within us. That we created it within us first, and then it became an outside thing, reality. So that's another thing. So we'll start to learn with our relationships, okay, I need a boundary here because this is where I am in this moment. I need to put a boundary here because I'm starting to feel more, and I'm starting to recognize that feeling, I don't want to diminish it. I don't want to repress it. I want to become it, and accept it for what it is. But I need a boundary put here when it comes to relationships with other people, because I'm still getting used to this myself. And that boundary can shift as you get used to yourself, but you're acknowledging and respecting you first. So that's another thing. clarity, which gives you a good feeling, and stress-free, stress relief. So clarity can come because you're finally in this acceptance mode. You're finally allowing yourself to feel again. And with that, the feeling has clarity. So, oh my God, I know where I'm going now. I know exactly what I'm doing now. And then that stress is relieved. You don't have any more stress because you're living more presently in the moment, and you have a clarity of your next step. This is what can happen as we enter this vortex. All of a sudden we're like, well, I just know what I'm doing now. I know where I'm going. I know my mission. I know what to do next. I know the next steps. I know just when to surrender. I know when to work. I know when to play. I know when to rest. I am taking responsibility and the reins in my own hands now for creating the reality that I want. As you go through that vortex, that can happen as well. So, and a ding happens at the same time, right? New focuses and determination to know where you're going, taking the reins towards your own destiny, which is very much to do with that clarity. I literally went into the next one automatically. So yeah, we once we gain the reins to ourselves and understand where we're going, it's just there's a no-brainer. It literally is a no left logical mind thing. You don't even have to think about it. It's a feeling that comes from within you. You're driven by your passions, your desires, your heart's desires, and you know where you're supposed to go. The logic can come in when you have to put something tangibly together. You have to do specific actions towards in this material world. And we say, okay, logic, now you come in. Now you tell me how I remembered to, do this, organize this, organize my work ethics, or be able to even handle a program on the computer to be able to do this work. So there's things that need to be held in the memory so that you can retrieve them again. That's what the logical mind is there for, but it's not supposed to create. It doesn't know your passions and your desires. It doesn't know the connection to your soul. It's just there to hold specific memory. So we're shifting up how we use our logic and how we use our intuition and our connection to our soul. It shifts completely. So things become easy, like the world wants you to succeed, and that you're going to see that happening in your reality because you are starting to align with yourself now. You're aligning with the love of who you are. You've allowed all those programs to fall away. You're trusting who you are, and things start to become easier. And the world starts to show up as, hey, this is happening and this is happening and this is happening. It's not like everything goes right. It's just that you know how to handle those things that so-called answer, and you don't see them as going wrong. You just see them as an experience to either feel into a blockage that you might have and that you can release quickly as you come closer to source energy, or in the love of self, or sorry, there was something else there that I had and I've just forgotten it. It's just slipped through my mind. I was in the zone and then I lost the zone for some reason. But you will know. I don't know why I've lost the zone. That's really interesting. I don't very often do that. Anyway, there must be a reason for it. Oh, okay. I was talking about blockages, wasn't I? So that totally makes sense. Here's a blockage right here that I have. Yeah. So even going real time with this, I don't feel afraid that I've got a blockage and that I'm live right now and that I've forgotten what I needed to say because I've lost that zone of being connected. I don't feel afraid. So it's okay to be sitting in this no man's land. As you enter the vortex, acceptance of self in every single moment is so important. And there is no bad, there is no wrong, there is no right. It just is. And I'm really feeling into that now. It's like you're coming into the central south of just acceptance in whatever happens as it plays out in your life. And there is no fear, and it frees you. It frees you. It gives you a feeling of freedom. It's literally, that's what I'm feeling into now. Like it doesn't worry me that I forgot. There's no guilt, there's no fear. And right in this moment, I feel free. So I can still express myself. Yeah, so that's really important as we're coming into that vortex, that there's just no fear in how you look to others. It doesn't matter anymore. It's just how you feel about yourself that really, really, really matters. Um, and then the rest fall into place. Yeah, interesting that happened right there when I was talking about blockages. Okay, so yeah, just let me see if I can channel some more. I feel like there's something else coming through here for this. When we go into this vortex, all these things, and it's interesting because it does become easier. It literally becomes easier. You don't realize it though. It's like, well, you do realize it in the fact that you're now, oh my God, I'm not stressed about anything anymore. And yeah, it's okay to just be me. And yeah, I am going to take those steps into something unusual that the rest of the world, I feel I'm here to present to the rest of the world, and how it accepts it doesn't matter because I've accepted it within myself. And the more that you start to accept things like that within yourself, the more that you just play in that field, that energy field of feeling really good. Yeah, so that's got to happen. Okay. So I'm going to go now in a minute, into what happens if you are holding on to old programs, and we'll go into that. But I'll just quickly have a look at my. Sorry, I'm just going to up my brightness on my computer is getting darker and darker. Hey Debbie, into my chat bar is what I was going to say. Hey Debbie, hey Annie, hey Javia, hey Sky, good to see everybody. Celtic, Linda, yay, Dedra, good to see everyone in that chat bar. Okay. Yeah. Right. Let's get into, sorry, I have a little discussion within my own mind. Let's get into what happens if you hold on to the old programs of distrust or of self, and all as you enter this space, this vortex. So no matter what, it's going to happen. So you can actually enter that space, which is just pure love, pure light. It's just pure. And if you are dragged into that, kicking and screaming, so-called kicking and screaming, holding on to the old programs, not acknowledging anything new in this world, and not acknowledging your intuition, not acknowledging your feelings and all of that, it's going to be quite a daunting experience. But to be purged through, it's like your shell is held on to and you will not let it go. You're protective. You're over protecting yourself, and it could drive you into, and I have to say this, it could drive you into insanity. And so we see the world split between those that are acknowledging their spiritual side, their feminine side, the power of that, and balancing it with their logical masculine outside world, and just loving the experience and coming back into oneself and feeling really good. And then there's going to be those that are just stubborn in their ways and not wanting to go through this. Now, yeah, I will read out what I wrote for that. I've written here, because the old program only acknowledged all outside as real, and your feelings, your imagination, and your intuition as worthless. And that's literally what we've been living. Those parts of self will be screaming to be acknowledged. And so a war will start within you, which will manifest outside of you. So this is what happens if you enter this vortex, which is a love vibration, just wanting acceptance of we can't deny the parts of ourselves anymore that we have been denying. And we have, over the generations, we have been closing off our intuition, saying it's only for the one religious dude over there. We've been not acknowledging our feelings and repressing them, and with that means that we are disconnected from everything that is connected through feelings, through intuition, through and like how I even receive telepathic communication is I'm open with my feelings. I'm quite happy to cry. I'm quite happy to do whatever in the present moment. I just will express myself if I need to. And even if others beside me, I upset them or whatever, or they think I'm weak or what, I don't care. I never really have. And I think this is one of the reasons why I am quite open, heart open, to being able to be communicative with others. With all other energies, like everything is a substance, it's a specific physical substance, but it's also energy as well. The energy creates the substance. Our logical mind puts it into a sort of a compartmentalized, practical, material thing, and that's its body, that's its avatar. And so we respond to that in that way. But if we see everything from an energy field, there's communication can be with absolutely anything that's surrounding us. Okay, so this is what I've got for those that are going to go into this vortex and still holding on to the old program. They will start to blame everyone else for the position they're in, and they will feel like they have no control of what others do to them. So, yeah, I mean, this is going to be self-explanatory because you would have felt all this in the old program. And so when I'm only saying them because then you can go, oh, I'm acknowledging that within myself now. I'm starting to blame somebody else outside of me for the predicament that I've put myself in. And I feel like they have got more power than me. So they're controlling me. And yet, if you come from an energy base and alignment with love for self, you start to see everyone as equal outside of you, because energy is equal. All energy is equal. It's just love going on a journey and creating this elaborate story that we're found ourselves in. Then we've got guilt to rest. You'll definitely feel guilt when you rest and play and love and enjoy this world. You'll create an anxiety world. And so, yeah, that guilt will turn into anxiety. And so you'll be afraid to be enjoying yourself in this beautiful world. You're with somebody and you're like, oh my God, look at that beautiful flower over there. And you see so much gorgeousness in it, how gorgeous it is. And the person next to you is like, come on, we're supposed to be working on rah, rah, rah. We're supposed to be exercising or whatever. And you're like off with the fairies going, wow, that's so beautiful, and enjoying yourself. So be it. Enjoy yourself in the moment. And if they fall away from your life, let them fall away, because it's opening you and the love of yourself to take a new adventure wherever that you're following all those beautiful flowers to a new person that really is following those beautiful flowers as well. See the difference? You'll fall into being a victim, that's for sure. If you're holding on to that old program, you'll feel like you have absolutely no power. You're relying on everybody else to tell you what to do. So this is what the old program was all about, is like humanity gave away their power to something else that they thought was more important, more powerful than them. And they never saw themselves as an equal at all. And so the victim starts to literally also turn into the narcissist as well, to be able to handle that energy of feeling less than something else outside of you. Source energy sees everything as exactly the same, because we are all source energy. It's just pure energy going on a journey. It's not anything more powerful or less powerful. We all go through, a flower is birthed and it has its experience, and then it dies, and everything does. Everything in this material world is going to go through that same process, whether you're a flower or a bug or an animal or a human or a friggin' politician. Doesn't make any difference. We're all going to go through exactly the same sort of scenario of birth, having the adventure, and then passing over. So nobody is more important. It's just the adventure that you decide to take yourself on that's important. And if you take yourself through that as an, oh my God, I am humble, I'm a victim to the world, and the world is going to shatter, come at me, then it will happen. This is what you are going to seek. You are going to turn those corners and go towards that. And when we go closer and closer to the source of all things, it's going to become even more apparent. You're going to feel even more a victim to everything. It's just going to feel like overwhelming. It literally is an intensified moment for humanity. This is, as we come closer to source energy, an intensified moment for humanity, but it's also allowing us or giving us the opportunity to shed these things, because it's too much. And you'll either just go nuts, crazy, kill yourself off because the soul wants to get out of this position, or you will accept, start to come back to the lover's self and start to really love humbly in this world again. Totally different. Okay, so the next one, it says, is fear what you want to do just in case others don't approve, and you'll stay stuck in the same old job as before. So 2025, if you are shifting into something new, you're probably on the right path, because especially if you've been holding on to something that you don't really like, old jobs, old whatever, if you're feeling like this pull to move into something, a better circumstance, a better environment, better something, you're probably on the right. I'm not saying for everybody, because you might have been in the right environment in 2024. I mean, some of us have found that within ourselves in that, that moment already before, but a majority of people are going to be asked to shed anything that isn't in their environment that feels really good for them. So new jobs, I mean, my whole life has been completely shattered to be rebuilt again. And now I'm in a position of, okay, where's my mind at? Because every time I start to feel into the abundance of myself, abundance starts coming in. Every time I start to close myself off from that, abundance starts to shut down again. And I'm like, oh, I can see it, I can feel it, I can start to create the reality that I want from who I truly, but you have to be extremely, extremely honest with yourself. So these people that are going into this vortex, not being honest with themselves, not telling themselves the truth within their mind, and speaking out a whole heap of crap, they are going to find it very, very difficult, because we have to be honest with ourselves to be able to get into that frame of mind, to be able to spread the truth out to, for being our authentic selves. So yeah, fear and what you definitely shifting up jobs, shifting up homes, shifting up relationships, any of those. Not saying that any of those weren't good, but that could be a great indication that you're actually doing the right thing. Otherwise, if you're stuck in it and you hate it in 2025, it's going to be even worse. It's going to hit you harder. So just put a warning out there for those that want to hold on to something that just doesn't feel good. Okay. Next one was hide all your inner feelings and become a workaholic, an avoidant, a controller, a manipulator of anyone still in the victim mode. So anyone that's not going to acknowledge their feelings anymore is going to probably hide themselves in, I'm going to keep working, keep working, keep working, keep working. Then I don't have to feel guilty. Then I'm still doing this program of being a slave to the system because I'm working, working, working. And that's going to keep me safe because I'm doing the right thing, right? That's what I was told by this program from many years ago. So they will keep working and they will work themselves to the grave. They'll just keep on working until it's just too much. Or they will be an avoidant. In other words, someone will come up with some sort of love vibration or something, and they'll just go, I don't want to know about it. Nah, it's too much for me. You're getting me in my feels. Nah, I'm walking away from anything that gets them in their feelings. That this is 2025 is going to be all to do with getting back to understanding your feelings and how being very honest with your feelings and yourself as you go along. Or they could end up becoming even more controlling, and they will find anyone out there that's a victim. And then these two, the victim and the controller, will switch up places constantly as in 2025, and they will get really nasty with each other. It'll kind of get really yucky. You'll see the spaces just because one will be controlling the other will fall into victim, and then be repressed. And then maybe this one will be sneaky about it, start to manipulate, become a narcissist and try to control the other. And then this one that's being controlling will feel like a victim, and that will keep switching up like this between relationships. Ugh, not very nice. If I feel into it, it's not going to feel good. And it's going to be lies and deceptions and all those manipulating things, and not just allowing the process to be expressed and how you feel. Being very honest with how you feel is a big point as we're going through 2025, as we go through this vortex of absolute love and source energy. So next one is anger towards others for the position that you're in. So you'll get really angry about, it could be anything, the relationships that you have in your family. It could be the relations that you have with leaders and that sort of thing. You'll just keep on getting really angry with, why are they doing that, and that sort of thing. But in this new vibration, it's not about what other people are doing. It's about your response and how you handle it and how you go through it. If you don't like something, walk away and ask within yourself to find a new path. Ask, okay, show me, spirit, soul, guidance, feelings, intuition, show me a new path. And you will have an absolute array of understandings that there was always new paths, because the monopoly cannot be held by a controlled sector. It cannot. It's impossible, because it doesn't have the monopoly over everything, over all possibilities. It just doesn't. And you will find a way out. You will always be able to find a way out. But if you don't, if you're still angry if you're like firing arrows and shooting war zones and they're outside of you, and you're not actually looking at how your mind's working, and you're projecting it onto others, and it's just going to end up being this ping pong of, a war going back and forth. Not loving who you are and falling into worse situations that match your inner disgust. So relationships to others will be detrimental to your health as well. So those that are going into the not so good things will have that happening to them as well. It's kind of self-explanatory there. So when you don't love yourself, you just end up like, I don't like who I am. So you'll end up with a partner that actually doesn't either, and they're just here for codependency. And that person's got that, they've got the money, I've got the I don't know, the house or something, I don't know, you each got something that each other wants, but you're not loving who you are, and so you're going to be entangled into the wrong relationships, and so you'll end up getting into worse. So if you see yourself in 2025 being involved with icky relationships that don't make you feel good, then you have to look within yourself and go, okay, I need to love that part of myself that doesn't feel good. Because if I start loving that part of myself that doesn't feel good, I even want to be in that sort of relationship. I won't even want to be near that person. And I'm starting to free myself to become involved with other people that are really good for me, that love me because I love who I am, and I wouldn't even put up with those other people. Unhealthy addictions and out of control habits will happen because you don't want to feel. So that's another reason what will another thing that will happen more. And this is all more intensely. I know this has happened in the past, but this is going to become even more intense in 2025 and 2026 if you don't deal with these things now. This is so important. This is why it feels really what the is going on. So acknowledging your feelings again. Otherwise, you could end up, well, I want to drown this in alcohol. I want to drown this and blah blah. I want to drown this, and then also even like could be eating habits or stuff like that. I'm not saying little bits. I'm not saying take it all off. You do what you need to do to be able to move through your world, but you'll start to find you will shift into, I don't need that anymore anyway, or it doesn't worry me if I have it or do have it. It doesn't, if you're in that sort of situation where it doesn't really worry you if you have it or don't, then it doesn't have control over you. And so you've obviously got to control over your feelings. Yes, that's another thing as well. Hating this world. Oh my God, hating this world, and problems and dramas will go wherever you go. Now, the reason why I brought this kind of up again, because it is another point just beyond that, but the reason why I brought it up again is because they wanted me to bring up a story about someone that I met when I first come to Australia. So we're talking in the 1990s. And there was a person that I met who was in a band with me, and everything that she just complained a lot. She complained about this and that, and she had a lot of stories about all these elaborate weird things that kept happening to her, and like just being in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong people constantly. And then a weekend later, she ended up walking into a camera store, and lo and behold, somebody had pulled out a gun and was robbing the camera store right in front of her. Like, these things just kept happening to her, but she complained so much, and she literally loved it. She loved the stories. So she was a highly incredible person to be able to manifest these incredible elaborate stories, but they were all on drama. They were all on negativity that had happened to her. Because then she'd be like, I've got another story to tell somebody. And she kind of she got off on that, on telling people these stories. So be careful about that as well. She also hated the world. She hated everything. She thought everything was out to get her. See, so our paranoia will turn into a real reason to be paranoid through these times, through these intense times that we're going through. Not intense as in, it could be intense as in love and passion. You could have like a tower moment where wealth comes to you. That's what this is all about. But what are you aligning yourself with? It's really important to understand what we're aligning ourselves with as we go through this vortex. Feeling weak, and do whatever other people tell you, so you become a slave to the world that you live in. So if you feel weak, you feel vulnerable, you feel a victim, yeah, same sort of story really as what I've already said. I think I'm kind of repeating a little bit there, but it does say a slave to the world that you live in. So that's what will become of those that don't acknowledge their feelings, acknowledge their feminine, intuitive, nurturing side, acknowledge their imagination to be able to pull that through to imagine a better story, like, and start to exercise that. So you can get a bearing anyway as you go through that. What I'm saying here now is just to give you a bearing of, oh my God, I've lost myself again. Okay, I can come back to, now I understand how I can come back to being more central to myself and understanding where I've not been, acknowledging that part or loving that part of myself. So the more that you come into this love vibration of self, and I know see, this is a reason, like, people out there, I've heard people go, people are saying that you have to love yourself. Well, hello. I'm sorry, but but if you do, others will. Like, it's the vibration of creating what you want. It's the vibration of your passions and your desires and who you want. What do we want this world to be a more loving world? Well, it starts with you. It just does. And you are the creator of everything that's coming towards you outside of yourself. The program starts to respond with this. And it's been tainted. That word, even love, has been tainted. It's been made out to be some sort of sexual thing. Like, it's not just a sexual thing. It's actually a thing that we need to acknowledge. It's actually life giving. It's nurture. It's everything in our reality going on a journey. It just is. And so if we don't acknowledge this within ourselves, we become separated from it, and the illusion starts to become warped, because it's not in response to love anymore. It's in response to what? Lack of love. Lack of love. And lack of love opens up the vortex to fear, guilt, anger, all those things. It just opens up your reality to all of those horrible things. Jealousy. It just opens up to all of that. It's just recognizing yourself as love going on a journey, and then approaching life through that is literally bringing you into the vortex of acknowledging yourself as prime creator of source energy, as the creator of your own reality. You're in alignment with it. Now, from that space, you're going to create something completely different. This is where the new world comes from. This is where the new higher vibrations come from. This is acceptance of the wholeness of yourself is going to create and carve this whole new world, because you're no longer afraid. You're like, oh, well, that feels a bit tense. I'll move over to this way. I'm not going to hold on to it because, oh my God, then I lose my money. And no, you let it go, and then move into a world that feels good. That's just a love vibration, and allow. And when that happens, then you align yourself to other people that are in response to that love vibration. Then we're all sharing, giving, caring, understanding, living in peace within our own minds, all of that sort of stuff. We're not repelling each other. We're not fighting against each other. We're not, all that is to do with a lack of love. It's just, yeah. So that's why when I saw this Taurus energy and Earth entering into the very top of it, we're coming closer and closer to that vortex of just ever-present love. You have to match the vibration. You just have to match the vibration. And then when you match the vibration, when you come out the other end, everything shifts, because you're no longer afraid of taking these. You'll take bigger leaps of faith with your work, with everything. Because you're no longer afraid. You're not repressing yourself from that lack of love. It's huge. It's really huge. Yeah. So I had to say all that for this next couple of years, especially. And I mean, it started in 2024, and we can see it all happening, but I've brought it forth now because we're kind of in this vortex of understanding. Oh my God, 2025 is a central point. And then 2026 is like, there's going to be a lot more people that are expressing their passions through their work on this planet. And so there's going to be all these new fangled ideas, these very interesting things are happening, and a lot more communication with off-world beings and things that you wouldn't even have expected. So they're being invited in through those that have done the work. A lot more understanding of what a tree wants. If ever a tree is to be chopped down, I will always tell it, like, this is how I would do things. I would go up to the tree and say, okay, you're going to be chopped down in about a week's time, or a couple of weeks, depending on how big the tree is. If it's just a little thing, then it's not so. I always, for some reason, give a bigger tree that's had a longer lifespan here, longer time in my head. So here's this communication through intuition of saying, we're going to have to chop you down, for you to come back as something else. You're dropping all your seeds. We'll make sure that your babies are planted somewhere else or whatever. I don't know, but at least to acknowledge the tree for what it is, and then ask it to withdraw its energy, withdraw its energy, understanding that it's going to be chopped down. So all of those sort of things, instead of just annihilating things without even one sort of compassionate component to the annihilation, all of that is going to that's not going to happen anymore. And so things are going to have to change, because we're now starting to come into balance and understand that there's divine timing with things and all of that sort of stuff. But we also have a lot more faith in that Mother Earth is going to supply us with the foods, and we're not, no longer having all these rule bases where we don't grow food on the sidewalks and so forth. And those that used to sell the food will end up having new ideas on their passions and desires of what they want to create. New inventions will start happening. We're going to have a lot more new inventions, and it doesn't matter if it's to do with technology or what, so long as it is conducively balanced with the nature of all things. Technology is okay. It's just that it has to be created through love. And a lot of technology won't be needed anymore, though. It just won't be needed, because we will start taking back our gifts as well. So telephones and that, they won't be needed in this new world, because we'll become so feeling based that we'll become telepathic, and we'll be able to communicate with way more through this. And it's a lot easier communication, because there's no lies, there's no deceits, you know where the other person stands like that. No one can say something and not really mean it. All of that's going to change us. Totally different world and perception that we're going to start to carve here, and it will be created. It is going to be created. You can see it and feel it by seeing how much things are being disrupted in this outside world. How much things are starting to break through, and how much truth is starting to appear now and be acknowledged. So it is going to happen. That just is. Sorry. Can't say it any more plainer than that. Yeah. So that's really cool. Hey, Liz, good to see you in the chat bar. It's okay that you came late. Hey, Tama, good to see you as well. Okay, guys, so if you want to be part of the chat that we're going to have and sharing our gifts and stuff, and the Zoom call tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, which is my time, AEST, or Brisbane, Australia time. Go look it up on the world clock if you need to find out your time. The link is on my community page. So go on the community page, find the link, click into it. If you do need it, if I get an avalanche of people needing the link all of a sudden, emails, I'll get to you as quickly as possible to email you the link. I have had a few people already respond, so there's definitely a few of us that are going to turn up. And yeah, let's get this ball rolling. Let's share our gifts and see where we can go with this and help each other. And don't forget that we do have the GoFundMe for me to go to New York and talk live on stage. And I feel like this is the beginning of a worldwide event and the end, talking everywhere. It's just part of my missions where I'm supposed to go, so it will happen anyway. But I think it's a great thing to be funded by those that are, in the big wide world, that want the world to be changed. And so I will shift that money into an absolutely beautiful world of love, and that's what I'm going to do. And so if you want to, donate or whatever to that, then that would be fantastic. And the link is down below for that as well. And if you want to be part of my Patreon school, that will help me out as well. There's a silver tier and a ruby tier. The ruby tier is just all of the telepathic games, heaps of fun games. And the silver tier is the lessons as well. So yeah. Sky, what do you say to those who are waiting for ET to come save them or cure their illnesses, medibeds? Come across someone who said he is waiting for years for ET to cure him. Okay, so anyone that's waiting for something to actually outside, it's still playing that program of we're waiting for something outside of us. We're not going to acknowledge that we have the power within us to heal ourselves. So we have to be aware of that as we move into this new reality. And I would say to that person, to start to feel into themselves and why they have a blockage within their body. And then I would ask, why is that around that point stressed? And then go into the feeling. Like, I literally sat on my shower floor crying my eyes out, realizing that I didn't love my body at one stage there. And I'm like, oh my God, my body has done so well for me. Holy crap. And I've hated it this whole time, you know. And I'm like, wow, and it's still done so well for me. And yet I've hated it. And I just went, oh, that just changes everything, because now I'm acknowledging who I am, and my body's carried me and all this. And it shifted up everything. So there definitely is ways of healing yourself, and and tricky and getting out of the logical mind program that has held attention around that body area. I mean, if a medi bed is something that comes and helps, and so be it. But I wouldn't be waiting for anything. I would be acknowledging that I have the power within me now to change this, and then ask to feel into it. Because if something heals you as a band-aid from outside of you, but you haven't healed within you, you will return back to the illness eventually. So you still are going to eventually have to acknowledge the problem that you have. So if you're on a medibed and, say, for instance, the healing takes place, you would have to go within your mind and purge all of those thoughts, that energy involvement that repressed you in such a state that you didn't love that part of yourself, or when aligned with your authentic self, that could shift it. There's something there. And like, I know when I've got healings with friends, not very often have I done that. I've mainly done it on my own. But when I have actually had a friend that's healed me, there has been moments there where I just bawled my eyes out, like I started crying. But that's because I'm not afraid of going within my mind and within my feelings. I'm not afraid of it. I'd rather go into it and purge it out. Yeah, but any case, no, most people that want off this planet are light workers that are actually here to find their own home within themselves and ground that energy onto this planet. That's their mission. So up till now, they've probably gone, take me away from here, because I can't handle, I can't look at myself and I can't look at my feelings. And so take me off this planet and take me back home to that awesome feeling that I had in the other life. But your whole purpose of being here and remembering that other life is to go, I am going to acknowledge that feeling within me in every moment of my life. So I'm grounding it, and you're a walking presence of that feeling then, which is going to share it out energetically to the rest of the world. Literally what I do when I channel live, like, I'm just going to be present in that feeling of being on Pleiades, and knowing that feeling as I step out on the stage is going to help shift other people, and acknowledging their authentic self as well. So yeah, we're here to ground utopia on this planet. We're here to ground utopia in humanity's consciousness, and do that whichever way that is your genuine way of doing it, your gift to share with the world. Yeah. Anyways, guys, I think I'll leave it here. I love you so much. And until Thursday, don't forget, tomorrow morning we have that lovely meeting that's not recorded. And then Thursday I'll come live and we'll flick out some cards as well and have some fun with the cards too, because I love having fun with my cards. I don't know what the topic's going to be on. I haven't even thought that far ahead yet. I'm too busy living in the moment. Hey, thanks, Annie, for that. Love all the love hearts and everything everybody is given each other in the chat bar as well. I love how everyone says hello to everyone too. It's just so cool. Okay, guys, until next time. Bye.